What's up guys, it's Trevor here with Embers Living. Today we're going to show you some awesome tips. So if you're like me, one of the biggest problems you have when you're having a bunch of people over for a pizza party is screwing up the stinking pizzas. So we have the Gozney products here. We have the rock box and the dome behind us. Awesome products, but sometimes there's a couple little tricks you need to know on how to use these properly. The worst thing you want to do is have a big party with your brand new rock box or dome that you're going to show off, and you can't get a stinking pizza to cook right. So we're going to give you 5 biggest mistakes that people make, or 5 things that you need to think about when you're cooking the pizzas at home. Let's go. All right, don't forget, if you're in the Denver, Colorado area, come to our showroom, check out all of our awesome pizza ovens and products that we sell here. I'm with Kyle here, by the way, so he is our Gozney rep. So pretty much all you do is go around and cook pizzas for people, right? Yeah, I come around, I educate, I demonstrate, kind of give you guys, you know, just the ins and outs on how to be successful making pizza. Because again, it isn't a hot dog, it isn't a hamburger, so it's new to a lot of folks. I like to say you got to burn to learn. And that's something that you'll figure out as we go. So we're going to give you 5 tips on how to have a successful pizza party. So when you first started, how many pizzas did you spoil? Oh man, I fed my family doughy pizza once, and I'll never do it again. You know, it's just part of it. And again, that's probably a good segue into number 1, which is making sure your dough is at room temp. Yeah. You know, you get your dough. If you're doing store-bought dough, you can just make sure that you're letting it, you know, lay it out on a nice baking sheet, let it rise a little bit, get it to room temp, flour it up real nice, have a nice little plate or a bin, and just have it at a nice room temp. And that's gonna allow you to stretch that dough as thin as possible so that you can cook it all the way through. So if you're prepping at home, you guys store them in a tub like this, right? Yep. Because if you got 20 pizzas you got to go through, you got to be able to store them right. Yeah, so like I'll kind of keep some in the fridge. Say we're doing a pizza party with 30, I'll keep a couple out at room temp. I'll keep a couple in the fridge and kind of pull them out as you go. I'd say a safe bet, out of the bag from the grocery store, 2 to 3 hours. Trader Joe's is a great out of the fridge pizza dough. Making your own is definitely the best way to go, but again, not all of us want to take that on. It's a 24-hour process typically. Okay. So room temp for your dough. So what happens if it's too cold or too warm? Great question. You won't be able to stretch it. So you want to be able to have it at room temp so you can stretch that dough thin. And that's, can you kind of show us? Yeah, 100%. So I'm getting this dough ball nice and floured up. And if you notice, I'm pushing it down and it goes down real easy. If this was still cold, it would be pushing back up on me. So I'm just pushing the air out here, and this is working really nice. It's still kind of cold to the touch, but you'll tell if you've done this before, this is working really nicely. And if it's too warm, it just gets super sticky, right? It gets super sticky, and then you'll probably be making more of a flatbread because you won't be able to keep it in a circle. That's kind of a challenge too. And again, a lot of flour on your board. If you're able to do this and slide your pizza around, you got a perfect amount of flour on there. So I usually get it to about palm size, and then I'll bring it up to my hands. And if this dough is good room temp, you'll be able to pull it, stretches nice. And I call this the steering wheel. I just kind of walk it around. If you notice, I did tear there a little bit, and I'll show you how to fix that too, which is a good one. If you have a tear, just kind of pinch it, push it down, you're back in business. And there we are, we got a 12-inch pizza ready to rip. Okay, so prepping your dough is obviously very important. It's obviously the most important piece of the pie, no pun intended, right? We're full of good jokes here. Father's Day, dad jokes. Okay, so now what about the actual ingredients of the dough? Let's say we are making our own dough. Cool, yeah. Definitely want to use, if you can, a 00 type flour, and that's a pizza flour, and that's high in protein and high in gluten. And what that does is basically it creates a really nice bond, making it super easy to stretch your pizza dough. If you're seeing this and you've made pizza before, you're probably like, mine didn't look like that. It's just because it's at the right room temp. You're using a 00 pizza flour, and 00 pizza flour is also rated at a higher temp. We're cooking at, shoot, this thing's over 1,000 degrees. We're gonna turn it down before we cook that, but it's rated to cook at a higher temperature, this type of flour. So type 00 flour. If you're gonna use
you know, these are some of the best tomatoes. These are organic Bianco tomatoes. They're available all over the place. We use these because Chris Bianco is actually a partner in Gozney. We love his tomatoes. Good cheese. I use fresh mozzarella, which is in a log form. Chop it up in the cubes. I think that works great. Use nice olive oil. You know, the better the stuff you put in, the better it's going to come out.
Okay, so another big mistake that I think a lot of people make, myself included, especially if you're in a hurry, it's hectic, you got guests you're trying to impress, and you're really stressed out about getting the right type of pizza going, is your workspace and the tools you're using.
Correct, yeah, you wanna make sure you have a clean working surface. Making sure if you know, for example, this working surface I'm using on, this is actually a Gozney serving platter. It's clean. If there's cheese and sauce and I slide my placement peel under, that's gonna stick. Making sure these are clean, you know, making sure they're clean makes less margin of error. On that note, using the right tools. Turning peel is a super key tool for the rock box and the dome, and the placement peel. And that's going to be the tool you use to load your pizza in and take it out. So having the right tools, making sure their tools are clean, your working surface is clean, you're going to have a successful cook.
Yeah, so another little tip for that is, like, if you don't have, let's say you have a rock box set out or something, if you don't have good counter space, you're trying to run back and forth between the inside kitchen and where your cooking surface is, you probably should set up a little temporary workspace right by your pizza oven.
I agree, yeah. Having, you know, not having to, you know, run in and out. And again, we're cooking outside. Let's do it all outside. I mean, that's the fun part about barbecuing and getting outside and cooking, is cooking outside.
And do you know how I know all these mistakes? Because I've made them all, a lot. And it's a learning process. Like he said, if you have to burn to learn. Oh yeah, that is very true.
I cook a lot of pizzas. I still burn them, and it's just part of the fun of it all. And I had an old woman teach me this: if you burn an area, she called it bones. You just eat around them. So, and this came from an 80-year-old woman. It was pretty incredible.
I like that one.
But yeah, clean tools, the right tools, having your stuff all set up at your station outside to cook will be a great key to success for cooking outside.
Okay, so now we need to start making this pizza, which takes us into our next mistake that a lot of people make.
That's right. And that's going to be less is more. Really kind of don't load your pizza up. Now I know everyone's hungry and you're like, man, more cheese is better, but getting that heavy pizza into the oven is going to do two things. It's going to be hard to unload, and then it's going to cook a little bit longer as well. So you want to make sure your pizza cooks all the way through. Start with less. You know, I do 1 scoop of sauce.
You want to show them?
Real sparing with that. And the other thing I always do is make sure your surface is super floured up. So put that down. I'm going to test it out.
A little shake test.
A little shake. We're good. I'm going to grab this here. I'm going to do 1 scoop. I'm going to spread that out nice.
So while he's doing that, I have a little story to tell. One time we were doing some pizza reviews, and I was like, you know what, we don't have time to make our own pizza. So I was like, Chris, go to Papa Murphy's and get some pizzas. Can you think of a heavier topping pizza than Papa Murphy's? It's like 5 pounds of pizza. What do you think happened when I threw it in the oven? It flipped over into a calzone.
Oh my God. So for cheese,
so yeah, you don't have a ton of sauce on there.
No, and for cheese, again, this is like a fresh log of mozzarella. This is from Trader Joe's specifically. I'll typically use 2 to 3 slices of this. Tops. And I cut them up, or you can pull them apart. But I really feel like if you're spreading it out about 2 inches in between each piece, this melts and bleeds into each other. This is a Neapolitan style pizza. You can make a New York style, which is more of a shredded pizza, cheese. But in this style of pizza, less is more. So
but don't you think this is like in a pizza party setting, this is a part that is maybe really difficult because you have maybe piles of tempting toppings all over the place?
Yeah.
Maybe you got bacon, you got blue cheese, you got mozzarella, you got fresh veggies, sausage, pepperoni, meat lovers. Like, you can load this up in a hurry. You can get out of hand real quick.
Yeah, and there's no need, and you can work your way there. You know, pan pizza is a great example. You want a cheesy, fat, dude, get a pan, do a Chicago style.
Then put the whole pan in.
Whole pan in. Yeah. And you're not gonna deal with this transfer kind of thing. So I'll go ahead and I'll load this puppy up, make sure my peel is super clean. nothing on it.
Do you do any flour on this, on the peel, or just your
If you have enough on your serving platter and this is shifting around, you're good. So I'm just gonna...
So I've also made the mistake too of putting way too much flour on, and I just have black caked flour all over inside my oven.
If you flour your original dough ball up nicely, and it's on a working surface, it's floured up, it'll move around. If it's on my peel like this and it's sliding, it's good. So before I go in, another little hack, I like to, pro tip, pull it apart a little bit, give it a nice little stretch. We're looking at a true 12-inch pizza, and we'll go ahead over here and load it up. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna be aiming for back here, so you're gonna get the pizza peel all the way in and just let it slide off. Like that.
Get in there, Chris. And so because we have this pretty hot, you said if you're a beginner, you could maybe start a little slower.
Yeah, you can start.
Because you gotta work pretty fast.
Yeah, 600 or so. I'm gonna go ahead and heat my peel a little bit.
Why do you like that again?
The hot peel on a hot pizza will let it get under there real nice, so I can start turning.
That does flip pretty easy.
And if you're looking, dude, we're already cooking. We've got this thing nuking right around 950, if not higher, so we're gonna cook a 45-second pizza. But again, the key
what's
is,
your ideal temperature?
I think start at 6, work your way up. 720 is the sweet spot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely cooking fast. Which is, again, why you need a good workspace right by you. Because if you run inside, your 45 seconds are up.
Yep. And then if you know it's cooked on the bottom, you need a little bit more, bring it up to the flame, melt those last 2 pieces, and bam.
Oh yeah. So here's the debate. Fresh basil or cooked basil?
I think it's personal preference.
What do you like?
I like to go after. I like my green.
It gives you better aroma, I feel like.
Yeah, 100%. And again, that's like a big thing. We'll go back to the less is more thing. When you have good dough and good crust, you don't want to cover it up with cheese and sauce. You want to have a nice balanced bite. So, you know, Domino's, they load it up. Why? Because they're putting cheese on cardboard. No disrespect. But if you have a nice dough, a nice cheese, a nice tomatoes, you have this like trifecta of goodness. Now, you know, we got the basil that's going to go on after, and that's my style. You do whatever
I like
you
it fresh too myself.
We're not going to go into the pineapple debate on this. It's going to get too political, but we'll just keep it at that.
Let's see. Now I'm stressed. I have to do this on camera.
I
screw up pizzas all the time.
No, you got it.
And I think what happens is like in my case, we screwed up a pizza party, and now we're apprehensive to do it again, which is kind of a bummer because it's super fun. And so I think just doing a couple little trial and errors on your own will really help you have the confidence to do it, right?
100%. Yeah,
So,
I mean, you know, again, just follow these techniques. I think you'll have a successful pizza party. Remember, you got to burn to learn.
Burn to learn. So that was 5 little tips, and this pizza I think is going to come out perfect. Let's see. Yeah, definitely fresh basil.
Little crunch. I like the basil after.
Yeah, nice little black bottom, but not too much.
And, you know, don't be afraid to get back on that saddle after you burn a few.
Yeah, I got to do that because this is too good. All right, there's some tips and tricks for you guys. We'll see you guys next time.